Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Hey, happy Wednesday, happy Comic-Con. It is the Comic-Con Mecca. I'm sure most of you are probably not live watching this, but we'll be here later when you're stuck in that hotel room trying to go to sleep, but you're too excited because tomorrow's going to be fucking crazy. Anyway, watch the show later. It'll be there for you. I hope you all made it there safe. If you're still traveling, I hope you're getting there safe. I hope no one farted on your plane. I hope no one had plane diarrhea. I just heard about that in the green room. I'm really excited to talk about that when we bring the guests out. Anyway, hi, how's it going? Let's do a quick intro. Or not an intro. We got. I'm still you. I'll never get good at this, folks. But you know what? That's why you tune in, because I'm not that great at it. Anyway, let's do a little advertisement, shall we? Welcome to Omega City, where superheroes are publicly funded, and saving the day means big sponsorships and bigger payouts. The city's great champion, the hero, a raging egomaniac who cares about nothing but himself and his precious Q score. But when he loses his powers to the 10-year-old fanboy hero, he's forced to reconcile with all his past selfish deeds. Heroes will fall, heroes will rise, and the world will never be the same. From Keen Spot Publishing, writer Jeff McClellan and artist Michael Gecko Adams comes the premiere of Hero, and it's in shops now. And guess what? If you're at SDC, you can go over to the Keen Spot booth 2635, say hey to Michael, my buddy, and maybe snag one of these awesome issues, and I'm sure they'll be there and they can sign it and all that stuff for you. Yeah, so go do that. If you're not at SCCC, you can tell your shops to order it. Small chance they may have ordered it, but you probably have to tell them, and you can still order it. Or you can go to keenspot.com, check it out there. If you want to keep in touch with my dude Michael, who's an awesome artist, geckoadams.com, take you to a Substack, get all subbed up. And yeah, that's all I got there. It is a very cool comic, honestly. I love Michael to death. He's the reason we're live right now, because even before I was talking about his comic, he offered to pick up the tab for StreamYard. But I've loved his stuff. He does Kung Fu Lagoon, which is a great book, and this is Hero's dope. You guys should really check it out. Anyway, let's bring out some very cool guests, shall we? All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Oh, I got too many buttons. I need a producer or a clone. Ooh, maybe one day. Anyway, let's go. All right. Our first guest has been all around the block in the comics industry. He's a damn good editor and one of the founding nerds at Invader Comics. Let's bring him out, Mr. Michael Perkins. What's up, sir?
What's going on, boys?
How you been, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. And I'll tell you what, that hero book with Jeff, like that speaks to one of the issues with indie comics right now. Jeff is one of the first people I met in comics. He's one of my oldest friends, and I didn't know about this book because
oh, wow, small world.
Because that doesn't. I mean, Will and I are putting together a short for his Next Planet Comics book. But like, how did that not come across any of my social media feeds?
That is great. Yeah, it's not, yeah, it's hard. It's social media is impossible. It's weird, right? But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about this too, but you know, that the all-powerful mailing list is one of the best tools we have right now, and you can probably go to invader.com or invadercomics.com. Invadercomics.com, sign up for that mailing list. We'll talk more about that. We have one more guest to bring out who's actually in the bloodline, not my bloodline. They've guessed the bloodline of the guest. That was a weird segue. We'll get there. All right. Our next up, these are my notes. Oh my God. Next up is the brother to the first guest. I'm a wordsmith, guy. I'm not just hot on the mic. I'm hot on the words. All right. All right. Next up is oh wait, I wrote a joke. Okay. Next up is the brother to the first guest. We're keeping it tight tonight. That was the joke. Was it good? All right. He's a stellar artist and co-creator of one of my favorite fantasy comics, Goblin. Let's bring him out, Mr. Will Perkins! If you haven't read Goblin, you're silly. Go buy it right now. Oh, wait.
Please.
Oh, wait. How you doing, Will?
Good. How you been?
I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to have the brother Perkins is back. It's just good to be back. You know, it's good to be. I may not be in San Diego, but I'm in Kansas City, Diego. and it's good. It's good here. And the cheeseburgers are good and the food's good. And tonight, fellas, the company's good. How's that? You know, but honestly, like it's been a minute since I've talked to you both, and I'm glad to see I'm glad to see you're both still out, shaking and making moves. Will, I'm so stoked to talk about that new variant you did. But it was like,
Oh yeah.
I love it. Will's such a great artist, folks. You gotta go check out his stuff. But yeah, Mike, what's it? We kind of hit this in the green room a little bit, right? But it's been a heavy few months, right, for indie publishers, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of big moves are having to make now. Invader does things a little bit differently. They crowdfund books, and you can get an exclusive cover, you get cool metal bookmarks, you get some exclusive campaign goods, and then after the campaign, the regular trade dress edition, direct market edition comes out, and it's released in comic book shops, and you guys, like so many people, dealt with Diamond for that, and now you can't do that anymore.
So. And actually, we got that news when Will and I were together. We were on vacation back in January.
Oh.
And we got that email about Diamond going down, and I was like, oh, this is going to make the rest of the week really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, part of our model, like, we don't actually crowdfund books. We just do a Kickstarter campaign for every book that gives a special cover. It has thicker cardstock and a unique cover, and we time it so that it will go to the printer at the same time as when we get the order from the distributor. So like right now, we have the Kickstarter up for the collected trade of Animals. This is the cover you would have gotten if you had ordered it through Diamond through your local comic shop. This is the one that you would get if you ordered it through us. It has a thicker cover. It has a special dress done by Daniel Crozier. He does this Zentangle style, hand drawn on birchwood. And we actually, have an 11x17 that you can buy of these. They're not all done by Daniel, but this is what we did for Animals. That was part of our model. And just like a lot of publishers, Diamond just decided to stiff us. Coincidentally, it was during one of our biggest books since Invader was founded. So it was one of the biggest checks we were going to get, along with several other books. But yeah, we were left out in the lurch and had to figure out something else. Thankfully, Massive came to us nearly immediately with their Massive Indies program, and they said, like, we want you. And Mike Calero had some really nice things to say. He said, actually, I'm a little pissed at you guys because you keep putting out books that I wish that we had put out. Well, hey.
They'll keep your spirit up on vacation.
What's that?
They'll keep your spirit up on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we hooked up with them. We have our first book in the Lunar catalog right now. It's Jimmy Robinson's Artillery. This is a little metal print we had done up. This will be available through the Kickstarter for this one. Really, really timely book. It's about how AI is stealing all the art in the world, and 3 artists get given the power to make weapons out of their art to fight back and steal the art back. We're really excited about it.
Sick.
And it'll be the first book that we have on Lunar, and we're really hoping this means a whole new chapter for Invader.
Oh yeah, I do. I also work at Prana Direct Marketing, which is like a comic book marketing firm that Adam Freeman, who used to be with Bad Idea,
we know
started. But I'm doing some work with them now, and they do a ton of stuff with like Lunar and retailers, and I always, they know I'm not like retailer smart, right? Anyway, but like they start talking like numbers and shit sometimes, and I'm just like, I get so lost and confused, and I'm like, fuck. And then I'm editing their podcast, their Comic Industry Insider podcast right now, and like I'm listening to these like really cool these like awesome conversations, but it's just this other element of comics that like I was never privy to. Even when I was running the studio, I was dealing with artists and deadlines. That was the one thing I didn't do at the studio, was the finances stuff. Like I would, if an invoice needed to be paid, like I reminded someone to do it. And then sometimes I had to remind people several times, but whatever. But, I wasn't like doing the number stuff, and I'm not that great at numbers. Right. And so I can just see how this would like stress out a lot of people who just like, just having to deal with like when Penguin came into it, like not that long, it's just like something every couple months, and being a retailer is already hard enough. I don't have to tell you about it. Like we talked about, hustle for these books, and sometimes you even don't know when your friends are out. You know, everybody makes that joke, like after your Kickstarter campaign, someone, whether it's someone from like your family or your class or a buddy or whatever, they come up to you right after, like, "Oh, I didn't know I would have got it. I didn't
wish I
know your
knew."
book was out."
Yeah.
And it happens every time, and it's real. It's real. It's hard to get the word out. It's hard to be seen. Unfortunately, you know, the beautiful part right now is like everybody can tell their story, and there's a space for them, and
It's
there's
true.
a space in crowdfunding for them, right? And you can find your niche, you can find your little nook and your people and your audience, but because of that now it's not that we're fighting against each other, right? It's just like there's just this huge sea of indie, right? And we're all trying to like float in the same place and get to the same shore. I don't know where this metaphor is going, Mike. Dig me out of this. Dig me out of this, Mike.
Well, it's part of why we started Invader. You know, when Will and I sold our first book more years ago than I'd care to mention right now, you know, when we first started getting a view behind the scenes of like how this all worked, and we just saw like, Jesus, there's just so much that needs to be done that has nothing to do with making comics. So I figured if I could have a company where I took as much of that off the plate of the creators as possible, so they could just, I know this is a radical idea, concentrate on creating, maybe that would be a benefit. You know, maybe we would actually get some more good books out there. We try to do that. We try to just handle as much of that on the back end as possible. You know, we have people at Invader who have been working in production, working in editing, working in design, all of that stuff for, you know, decades. And we just try to bring all that to bear so that when we bring on a creator, they can just concentrate on their book.
Yeah.
Nice. Will, how come you don't? I know you've done some stuff with Invader, and right now you did a really cool like homage variant for the trade, right? But I mean, obviously you got stuff out at Dark Horse and Direct Market and different places, but like, how come you and Mike don't work together more, or are you just guys busy, or do you see? Is there some drama? That's what I'm trying to find out here.
No, I hooked up with Eric Grissom on
Gregory's Suicide,
like a one shot we put together in the same concept. We're like, what if we just made a book we wanted to make and we just sold it at conventions, right? And that kind of pinwheeled into a hardcover for Dark Horse right about the beginning of it was like 2015, 2016. And before you know it, not only did that kind of turn into a couple more projects, but I mean, 3 projects later, it's 10 years.
Wow.
It's just like with production times, like I say the last 3 times Mike and I have seen each other, we talked about our next project together. It's just about like getting that open air of like momentum coupled with like time where you're sitting there being like, okay, what am I going to do this week? And then whatever you get momentum on is what you work on for 6 months. So hopefully soon.
Yeah.
I think the next 6 months.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, we're putting together that script for the next Planet Comics. I'd already put it together, and Will's got to draw it now, so it's all on you. Ha! But yeah, man, I mean, like,
the script is always open on my screen right here.
I do think about that, you know, that since I started doing this, I haven't put out anything but little shorts and stuff. I haven't put out a full book because I just don't have time for it. That said, I have put out, you know, 30 books.
Yeah.
Through Invader.
You make comics every day. They're just not
really proud of.
Yeah.
You know, I do have actually a super secret special project that I have been vague posting about a little bit. That should be the first volume of that should be coming to fruition maybe by the end of the year. And I've got another one that I'm working on, but yeah, it is a struggle. I have sacrificed working on my own stuff to make Invader work.
That's also why, like you were saying, like that is you are absorbing that, hopefully that from creative people working on books, so that job gets done well, not just done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trick. Like anytime where I have to actually start doing some of that stuff for myself, it's just, that's the worst part. You put in so much time and effort, right? Making what you consider art, you know, whatever fun you're making. And then you're like, all right, and now I'm going to trip over the finish line.
No, we were kind of talking about that in the green room too, about how you get caught up and wrapped up, and the first thing to go is the personal projects, right? And
Mhm.
your personal projects, and then even sometimes your personal relationships, and like, not that you're like killing people or like cutting people out of your life, but just like you, people ask you 3-4 times to hang out, and 3-4 times you say no, they start asking you less. It just
Yeah.
happens. That's how human beings are. Because
Like, I'm already saying no the first 2 times because I'm an introvert. Like, that's why I'm an artist. So like, I really rely on that 4th and 5th ask.
I don't know. It always reminds me of that cliche where it's like, well, where are the Michelangelo's Davids? Where are the Da Vinci's Mona Lisas? Where's the Sistine Chapel? Well, why don't you fucking pay somebody to just concentrate on one thing for 3 years
Mhm.
and see what you get?
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't. I don't know,
$5 a
man.
month might not do it.
Yeah, right. I guess I don't know. I wonder what Da Vinci's Patreon would bring in. Like if we could swap time.
A lot of nudes.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
A lot of
he'd probably
religious
do great.
news.
Probably do
But all
great.
those are really cool inventions. Come on, he would have had
Yeah.
a 3D printer.
Hey,
he would-
he did those on his own. He didn't get paid for most of those.
Yeah. Hey, study.
What do you guys because so I got addicted. I mean, I write and I like telling stories, and you guys listen to my show. I will go on tangents and tell weird stories and shit all the time. And everybody knows I was in MFA and dropped out and blah blah blah. But like, man, I really got addicted to making other people's comics. There's something about because it's like yours, it's yours a little bit, but it's like not yours, but you're still really attached to it. Like even if it's like you're fighting for it on Kickstarter, right? You're making posts for it, and you're sending out these updates and you're doing all this stuff, but proofing these letterings and like taking like notes from like clients back to the designers, and like when putting these books together, and then sometimes like just getting to when like everything's done, and then the someone sends you like the hardcover comp of it, and you like get to hold it and look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck if I was the writer or not, like it was just like I was just this part of like making comics, and that was so madly addictive. And I feel like is that high similar of like when you're like helping people tell their stories, when you're working
Hell yeah.
with these people, making the scripts tighter, making sure the art's and doing all that.
The beauty of comics is the collaboration aspect of it,
Mhm.
because I don't think that there's any other medium that you can work in where the potential for creating something that is so much better than what you envisioned initially. And I mean that in every, back and forth, not just writer to artist or artist to writer or creators to editor, any of that. The potential there is so great, and to be a part of that in any level, it's just a wonderful feeling to know that you contributed to that.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's
like
awesome.
And especially because like you spent 2 years on a book, produce this thing, put it out, and because of that creative process, you get to enjoy. You don't get sick of looking at your own thing. It becomes something new. It's like combining 3 ingredients that become just some greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
But also because you're interpreting Goblin when we made Wolf in the Well. I knew that script backwards and forwards, and I looked at it every day for 16 months. And then I get it back from Eric with lettering, and he's able to sit there and look at the art that came from his script, and then as his own letterist, go through that book and then alter the script to my panels. So it becomes something different than even we intended in the beginning. It's something completely new. And sometimes that's where magic happens.
We had that, we've done several books with Eli Powell, who we first did Ravage with, which was a book that everybody told me not to publish because it's literally just cannibal holocaust. It's just a murder hobo rampage.
That's mean. Yeah.
And so he did his next book, which was this really, really heartfelt, atmospheric, sad but sweet character study of a hunter in the woods. Hold on, let me just grab the book. It's right here. Called Still.
Yeah.
And he did it. Ravage is a wordless book. This was wordless as well. And I said to him, I think this could use just a little VO, just a little bit for that. And he was like, I was thinking about that too. So I helped him put that together, and we were like, all right, so what should we do here? You know what? Micah Myers, he would be perfect for this. And it's just, there's so few letters in this book, but we still gave it to him. And holy shit, the amount that changed the book. What'd you say?
That's when it's the most important. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's really focal here. So you're going to need someone that's going to know what they're doing and handle it with, it's like you said, it's like grabbing the right elements off the shelf.
Like you said, the sums or the wholes greater than some of the parts. It was just 100%. And that is such a wonderful thing to be a part of.
That was a cool book. That was a lot. I used to work with Mike for a little bit. One of the other things I quit to go to full time at the studio because I was just like, I felt I would have felt guilty taking money and not when I couldn't give you the time, right? I wasn't like, and so it was just, that would have been my, for people to be like, man, like, I was paying Blake this amount of money and he did, you
could have stuck with us and you could be making literally dozens of dollars.
I probably wouldn't have had another anxiety attack though, or like, I don't, anyway, things would have, could have, should have. But anyway, I did learn a lot, but long story short, that was the last campaign I worked on with you guys, I believe was still, and that book fucked with me. And then it fucked with me too. Cause I ended up, I cut a little TikTok trailer for it back in the day. Good. And so I had to like sit and hover over it, and like just be like totally absorbed in it and then absorbed in the editing of it. And then, and it just was like, I don't know, like when you do that, whether even with an interview or a short or a book, if you cut like a trailer or a video, you just spend a lot more, you spend a different time with it. Your mind reacts differently with it, right? Like comics, when you see it and read it, your mind and eyes do different things. So anyway, I just, that book, it still sticks with me, and it's so sad and haunting and lone. My God, loneliness is so weird. And it's like, it's hard to do, I feel like, in any kind of written thing or really any kind of medium, because like even there's like this voyeuristic aspect, right? Because you're watching them, and technically, like if you care enough to watch somebody, should they be lonely? You're with them, kind of. So there's this weird. I'm falling into another weird rabbit hole, but anyway, you guys should check out Still, because it plays weird games with you. And I believe Steve Orlando really liked it too. And
what you're talking about is part of the unique aspect of specifically physical comics. And I'm not one of these people who's like, digital comics don't count, no good. But like I always think back to Neverending Story. You are involved when you're here flipping pages in a way that you're not when you're watching a movie, for instance. And believe me, I'm not saying anything bad about movies, but like I always think about that Neverending Story thing where the reader is part of the story. So I understand what you're saying, where like it's hard to communicate loneliness in a medium like this, because you are that character and you are now suddenly not alone.
It's the tough part right now where we are in like this, right now comic books and movies are so tightly intertwined, and like the two mediums share the same fan bases for a lot of things. It's easy to kind of get wrapped up in it, that it's like, oh yeah, it's just like a stepping stone to movies, or it's a cheaper movie, or all these things. And that's just the beauty of comics, is that like, that panel lasts for as long as I can make it last, and then you as the reader decide how long you sit there with those characters. So if you want to do a quiet panel with a quiet moment, I can do all the tricks in the world, but then it's partly on you're the audience. You literally have to turn the page and keep that story moving.
You can never step in the same stream twice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the saying? Yeah, same thing. Like no one ever reads this the same way.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the books you guys put out are like that. They're weird and heady and heavy, and it's just like it. You guys you've done some like funny fun stuff too. Like, but a lot of you guys have always been risk takers in your publishing tactics, right? And I've always loved that about you. Will, where did it split with you? Because like Mike has obviously got, he's got this like bone for publishing, right? Like he likes it, and it's a hard, this whole industry is hard, right? But publishing is weird and businessy and odd, right? Is that what were the reasons why you didn't necessarily like, follow him in the published, like, you were like,
for a
you're
bit.
an artist, of course.
I was I was art director for a little while, and
okay.
the real
Like
answer
like
is
215 days or Invader days.
215.
215 Inc. Right? Is that what it's called?
It's what the real answer is that like I love to draw, and I'm really slow. So like there's only so much time, and you get married and suddenly your time is even more precious. So it's always like, what am I going to do? Am I going to spend 3 days trying to get something just the way I want it, and then realize, oh God, I didn't get a page done. Like at a certain point, so like I kind of hooked up, like I said, with Eric Grissom on Gregory's Suicide. And before you know it, 10 years has passed, because there's always another step. You finish the book, but now you got to work on the cover, and now you got to work on the press release, and now you got to work on the reach out. And before you know it, it's like that 2 years for making a comic becomes 3 years with the press, and it's a full-time job. You're doing all of it.
Yeah.
It's really one or the other. Sophie's choice, man.
That said, there's very little that passes across my desk that I don't send your way just for a look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've always done that, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine, honestly, as close as we are, and as much as I trust your sensibilities and taste, I can't imagine an industry I would be working in that I wouldn't be like, hey, what do you think about this? I mean, like, I was putting together a birthday present for my wife the other day, and it was just like, hey, I've got these 2 options for something. What do you think? Should I do this or this? And he's like, no, definitely this one. It's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I needed you to say it too, though.
Does it go the other way, Will? Like, do you ever send him like goblin art or something, or like, I can't.
Especially because for that exact reason, like we grew up with the same stuff. We know each other's shorthand. So like sometimes there are things where like, I know what responses I can get from certain people. And when I want to get a response from something that isn't necessarily my writer, because I know exactly what my writer wants, you need that perspective and just be like, am I in my own head? What's your response to this? And I know my brother's response to most things. And when he gives me something new and different, that has a whole different weight to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
has he ever sent you something that like he really liked and you were like, no? Don't do like, have you got?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, 100%. He is definitely, there have been times when I have been like, this is it.
Or pull it back.
Yeah. But I mean, like, sometimes I'll send you like 4 options on something, and I've already made a choice. And you'll come back and you'll be like, absolutely, just, I like this one. I like this one. Definitely not this one. And that was the one I was on. And you bring up something that I just wasn't seeing. And I think that's important.
And that's why we made comics together at the beginning, is because we kind of both liked we filled 2 different complete Venn diagrams. In the middle was comics. So like, Mike would introduce me to something like, Garth Ennis when I was far too young. I would enjoy that. But like, meanwhile, I'm still trying to push, old Superman comics onto his play. Like, no, this is the good one. You need to read this one. This is the good one.
Yeah. Will has been a fantastic resource for like, hey, I just read 20 years of Green Lantern. Here's 6 different arcs that you need to check out.
Here are the 4 issues that you'll really enjoy.
I would love to do that, because I've tried reading older books, and they're not bad, okay, but just even like old Claremont X-Men, which I want to love, and I do love for the most part, but how every issue starts with something that you've already read, especially when you're reading a trade, because every issue starts with like the recap, and they remind you through dialogue and exposition of what happened before, and almost every time of what somebody's power is. And so there's a lot of repetition, and I get why they do it. But when you're sitting down with like an omnibus and you're trying to read like 40 pages of Uncanny X-Men, and you're like, it wears on you, and I'll fall asleep. I fall asleep. I've dropped many $110 omnibuses, like waking up when you hear them hit the floor, and you're like checking the corners, like, fuck, oh no. But but they're good. But anyway, I wouldn't pay money for it, because I don't have a lot of money, Will, but I would consider tipping you on your Ko-Fi. If you like, for like a blog, hey, I read this era of Green Lantern, and here's 2 arcs that really summed it up, or just stuff like that.
Must reads.
It's
yeah, because
perfect.
I'm not saying don't read comics, and I'm not telling you to like cliff notes all your comics. I know this sounds probably bad, but just some of that stuff that's like 50 years old, it's a slog, and some people love it and some people don't. So
I mean, that's been the beauty of that's been the good side of all these movies, right? Is that like recontextualizing your favorite thing to have just a little more oomph sometimes, or like you said, having kind of brushing off all of that context, or having kind of like how many times it's just like you're going to really enjoy this Batman book, but you have to remember it's for 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like simplify your expectations, and within that you can still see what makes it so great.
Yeah. 50 years old is 50 years old, and if you didn't grow up with it.
yeah.
It's like when I wanted to show my wife the Christopher Reeve Superman, I showed her Logan's Run first. Like I wanted you to see what Hollywood is like when this landmine hits, rather than seeing the reverse of like, you watched Man of Steel and now here's this thing where there's probably like 30 minutes of movie that has no dialogue.
I just busted it. I haven't watched. Forever ago, I bought the Superman Blu-ray set that has like all the originals, and then the theatrical and director cuts, and then all the way up to the one before Man of Steel where Kevin Spacey played Luthor, I think.
Superman Returns, yeah.
Yeah. So I pulled that out because I kind of remember those movies, like watching them when I was a kid. But like I haven't watched them in such a long time, and I haven't been able to go see the new movie, and I've just been like, oh, I could watch all these, and I still haven't. Like you can kind of see them; they're sitting right next to my TV. But like I'm just every night I'm like, oh, Always Sunny is on, or it's just like, I'm always watching something new, or I read a lot now. I read a lot more prose now, so a lot of times I read instead of watch. But anyway, yeah, I want to, and he's so iconic, and I remember the way like those movies made me feel as a kid too, and so even that nostalgia is like pinging me. But I sit, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll watch one tonight, and then I'm like, oh, it's always something. I always put it off for. It's weird.
Start with Superman 3.
Oh, really?
Yep. Start with Superman 3. It's so good because it's so ridiculous. And so that means you're going to enjoy it no matter what, and then it'll kind of get you in the mood, and then you can go back.
Yeah.
Are the theatrical cuts better or the director's cuts?
My personal opinion, I only really have one about the first one. Like I as soon as they like longer Superman the movie, that's the one I've been watching. And I just recently made my wife watch it. She offered, and I was like, all right, how can I make this better? We'll watch the theatrical cut. I'm going to shave 20 minutes off this experience for you. But once you get through that, Superman 2 is the one I don't know. I don't know how I feel about.
Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit of background, you're not going to find a bigger Superman fan than Will Perkins. And if you are a Superman fan, you should be going to his Instagram to see all the beautiful, beautiful Superman art that he creates now and then.
Oh, the couple of new pieces he's done since the movie's been out.
Really, really nice stuff. But
I think one's your Facebook banner right now. It's beautiful. Oh my God. Is it you? Maybe it's not you.
I don't go to. I'm locked out of my Facebook. I can't get in there. So
have I just been talking to a hacker? No.
We watched the original Superman movies so many times growing up. I cannot have an objective opinion about those movies at all. My hottest take on Superman is exactly what Will said, that start with Superman 3. It is just gem of a movie. One of my favorite comic characters, and specifically Terrence Stamp's portrayal, is Zod. I don't know that there is a better comic acting example than Terrence Stamp as Zod on film. I think that
110%.
It's just, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about some of those lines. So I'm in the same boat as well. I'm like, oh, there's the director's cut, or the combined cut that they have. Like, yeah, I'll take all of that I can
get. Give me alternate cuts. Yeah. Watch both. Watch original.
Yeah. And Superman 4, to be honest, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, like it's trash, but it's like, it's good car accident you can't look away from.
I got you.
But
yeah,
still,
like it's like my Ninja Turtle 3.
Like,
right? Because like I'll watch them go to feudal Japan all day.
Yeah.
I don't. When people are like, "This is a terrible movie," I'm like, "You go fuck
turtles
yourself."
in time.
Yeah.
Just gotta start. You gotta start enjoying this stuff in TikTok bites. You know, like Superman going to the UN. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Superman fighting Nuclear Man 1.0 and the disco dancing. Less so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
No idea what that was.
I don't. I saw like a flash. I was like, "Whoa!"
I almost turned around from beyond the grave.
Yeah. Oh.
I've been reading a lot of spooky stuff lately, so like things start flashing, doing weird things. I get nervous. I would actually love it though if it ever turned into like a host. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Host. It's a Shudder original. It's like it's just over an hour, and it's technically found footage, but it's a horror movie that takes place over a Zoom meeting. They do a fucking seance over Zoom.
Oh,
and
I heard about this.
It comes after all of them, and it's scary as fuck. It's really good, and it's like it's like 70 or 80 minutes. It's a shorter movie anyway. But I always I always think about that, like when if like something weird, because lately not since I got off Riverside, but since I've left Riverside, less weird things happen. Like the last 2 weeks have been like an absolute joy. Because I was like Mike asked me in the green room, he was like, "Are you excited to be back, man? It's been cool seeing you back." And I'm like, "Yeah." But the first few weeks, like with Riverside and like trying to make this new platform work, and I thought I was doing the right thing because like, I hadn't been out in a minute, so I thought everybody was like on the fuck StreamYard train for like raising their prices and stuff, So I was like, I thought like if we use StreamYard, we shouldn't talk about it, But anyway, everybody's still like, yeah, no, it's fine. So yeah, I'm back home, and it's just a little more comfy to stream and less weird shit. Anyway, but Will, I know your time is limited tonight, and I appreciate you hanging out. But I know we've talked about, we mentioned Gregory's suicide, we mentioned Goblin, and we and there's 2 volumes. There's 2 volumes of that, and there's a very cool board game, or not a board. I'm sorry, tabletop RPG. For the whole family that you can get into that they have for the website. So real quick, like your shop or mailing, like, do you want to like funnel us into all things Will, Mr. Perkins? Teach us where we can, if we give you your coin and you will share us your wares.
Best place is at Will Perkins Comics on Instagram, or realmofgoblin.com, which was kind of like your link to all the things Eric and I have been doing for the last 10 years. Every time we make a book, Eric and I try to find something that's a little more interactive in universe to make to promote the book rather than just like flyers and stuff. So we got like a free entry level Dungeons and Dragons style D20 expansion to the first book, kind of set in the universe. And then for the second book, Wolf in the Well, we got Eric put together this awesome like choose your own adventure book, as well as a couple of other little side projects we're still working on. We just put together a mailing list for our Oracle card set that I did. I spent like all of last fall doing all 32, 34 cards, whatever it was. But other than that, no, I go to your local bookstore and demand Goblin, specifically book 2. Well, supplies last, right?
It's very good. It's like
Goblin 3, the Wolf in the Well.
Yeah, I like, I'm 39. I turned 40 this year, and it's like I love my fucking dogs so much, right? So like, Fish Breath is the name of the wolf, and like I love this wolf so much. And Mike, in all of your conversations that you have in the future with Will, you cannot ever let them kill this wolf. You can't. It has to live forever and ever and ever and ever.
It was largely based on a dog that I lost 2 years ago. So I am right on board with you there. I want this dog to live forever in memory.
Nice.
I understand that like a dog, any living pet dog, any of that stuff is like a loaded gun for a writer, like at any time. And I'm here to say it's tired. Leave it alone. We all see it happening, right?
Yeah.
But
there was like I play around, like Threads is my play around social media now, and it's like it's not good for promoting a goddamn thing, but it's fun, you know. And it's like but some writer was getting just dragged relentless, and like kept like fighting the mob too, but they were basically like they were like, yeah, I kill a dog in my book, and like, you fucking dog people are so weird for making this. So like, not like, it's you want to kill a dog, right? If I know, like, if someone tells me like, hey, this movie, I probably won't watch it. It fucks me up. Like it legit like fucks me up, and I can watch babies get eaten by an alien, and I'm just like eating popcorn. Like, I don't, but like, you hurt a dog or an animal, any animal really. Like, anyway. But this writer was like, oh, like you, and then she was like, you dog people, they're not even real, they're not family, and it was like, and everybody's like, I'll never buy your fucking book, and then just like thousands of followers losing them, and just digging in the heels of just being like, and I'm like, what did dogs ever do to you? But yeah, anyway, it was kind of funny, but kind of sad, because like of all the hills to die on, to tell, like, you're never gonna win that argument of like, I don't like dogs, so fuck your dog. Yeah, like, I don't care. Like, okay, like,
goddamn room.
So anyway, but yeah, that book means a lot to me, and is so good, and it's so wonderful, and it's you can buy it and read it if you love comics, and you can also buy it and share it with younger comics readers or younger people who may not be super into reading right now. Yeah. Because FYI, when you give a kid a comic book and tell them to read it, they are way more into it. You like, if they don't want to read, they don't want to read. But sometimes those comics like sing a different tune when they get it in their hand. So it's a great book for that.
On ramp to reading there is.
That's why I'm here. I mean, I just did a convention, and I got the chance to sit next to Roger Stern for 2 days at 8 hours a day. And I, of course, immediately, fanboyed out to saying to him, like, you need to know that, like, it's not even like, oh, I wouldn't be into comics. I don't know that I'd be reading. If it wasn't for that, like, Death of Superman novelization he did. Like, what an easy onboarding for a kid who just likes Superman. And that's what comic books should be. I mean, I like that they become so much more, and they can be anything, right? But, like, the reason I fell in love with it is because it was like it's this escapism specifically for kids who don't necessarily want to read, but you can kind of get tied into it.
Yeah. And it changed, like, when I was a kid, I still remember my dad giving me the Death of Superman trade. Like he used to go to the comic book shop and grab me shit sometimes and be like, cool dad move. And he'd be like, the guy said this is what everybody wanted. And I was like, Superman can die? What? Like,
And for the record, Michael, I did mention that Mom convinced me to write a letter complaining about the Death of Superman, and Roger Stern thought that was cool.
I remember.
So my shame is just gone.
Good. Because when that happened, I was just old enough to recognize it as a marketing technique.
Yeah.
But you weren't. And it was almost like when you still believed in Santa Claus and I had figured it out. Oh God, you don't have any kids who listen to this, do you?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, I'm just going to let him. I don't need to dissuade him or disillusion him of this.
Hey, I got my feelings out. That's what matters.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Well, because
it's better than when I sent a Spider-Man script to DC when I was 13 or 12.
Waiting on that reply.
Dude, that needs to be one of your TikTok talkie videos of, like, from sending the publisher the wrong character to fucking making comic books every day. The Mike Perkins story. Yep. That's awesome.
You too could be here making dozens of dollars.
Hey, someone's got to do it, though. I mean, like, if we run out of shit to read, it's gonna be lame, dude. Could you imagine if, like, all we had to read was the news? Like, we are, like, because we need to stay up to date. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but, like, if that's all we had, or if all we had was, like, internet drivel and social media posts and shared articles, we'd be fucked, dude. We're already pretty fucked as a society, but that would be like the end game.
My favorite thing about comic books is I can't hold my phone while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if I'm reading digitally, it's too easy to get sidetracked. I want to just stay in that ecosystem.
Yep.
Yeah, there's still something special about because I read a lot digitally too, and I miss the apps. Like I loved the like the DC and Comixology and stuff, and like all the
Use
stuff you can
Google
read for $6 a month or whatever. But yeah, it's something still like a nice hardcover or just like a nice trade with nice weighted paper, and like it's a good feeling.
And that's like another thing, like I grew up working in bookstores. So that was something that was important to me. Like I was never going to cheap out when I create these things. And it means that I make less money because like if I'm putting together a book that I'm selling for $15, I could make more if I made the paper thinner and the cover thinner and all that stuff. But that's not what I want. I don't want to spend money and time to create something I don't want.
Get into books because you like books.
Yeah, for real.
And you want to be proud of your stuff.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, I will. Even I know you got to go, but like even when you're tired and deadlines and life's yelling at you, you're not gonna like cut corners to get a page out. And maybe you will. Maybe I don't know you.
You have to find ways, but you have to find ways that like.
You have to do it well. Like Tony Gregori said that to me one time. He said, "You work smarter, not harder. You realize, when you need background detail and when you don't, and you play games with that to get pages done faster." And that kind of blew my mind too, because when you're good at it, you don't notice it until you like go through and you're like, "Oh, it's just two characters talking," and then in another panel there's a building, and you don't see that.
It's a magician. You're distracting with one thing so that you can not see the other. Like there's a part of guiding somebody around the page. Before he takes off though, can we show off the cover he did for the animals trade?
Yeah, let me.
Because I think he should talk about what he drew. We put together for the collected trade of animals. Which is a 68-page book, because it's spooky horror and because we absolutely love EC Comics. We wanted to do an EC Comics inspired cover. So we designed the layout of it, and we had Will do several different iterations of the art, and then picked that based on what we had come out with. Yeah. Just I still get so juiced seeing this stuff, and I cannot wait to hold this in my hands.
Yeah, it's like trade dress is so good. Like it's so perfect.
Well, thank you. It's an extent, like you said, it's just an extension of when we were kids, the stuff that got us excited. Like you walk into a store and you want to pick something up just because whatever that style is, whatever that look is. And all that is you want to sit there being 10 years old. You want to do it.
Yeah. So
having the opportunity to just play with these, I creepy comics, all that stuff. I just adore it. So having something in the style of hey, what if there was no comics code and just you draw whatever you want? Absolutely.
I still remember
any monsters.
The clerk told my dad when I was a kid, I was about to buy a Dark Horse Aliens book. The fucker let me watch Aliens, right? So how are you going to let me watch this movie and then tell me I can't buy this book? But the clerk told my dad, he was like, it's like an adult comic. And my dad was like, yeah, no, it's a comic. He was like, they're not for adults. And the guy's like, no, there's this code, man. It's on these comics. It's not on these. They cuss and
Relax,
stuff.
Dark.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, you want money? So anyway, I didn't get
money. Really,
I'm so mad. I turned around and glared at him over my shoulder leaving. My dad still bought me comic book. I don't remember what I got instead, but I didn't get this Dark Horse Aliens book. But I was like, you mother.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. But yeah, Will, did you did all the trade dress and logo work and everything too?
No, I just did. I did a rough version of this entire thing, just kind of just kind of an homage to the classic look. And then I gave it back to Mike Nelson did the layout for this.
Yeah,
he did a phenomenal job. Because I had just you could do and question mark thing here and question mark thing here, and it just it comes back and it's exactly how you imagined it. It's perfect.
It's another example of this kind of collaborative process, creating something that's so much better than you even imagined. And that's down to even the art director, who's just the details that Nelson puts into our books just when I come to him and say like, hey, here's an idea I have for a cover, or here's what I'm thinking, and he just, man, it's just transformative.
Intentionality, thought, just those little extras, right?
He's just really, really good at his job.
Nice. And also the deer is terrifying.
Oh,
like, yeah. I love the trade. Like the nerd production old me, right, loves like that trade. I'm like, ooh, like, like that. The homage is perfect. But yeah, that deer, dude, is, I want to like, I love Goblin. But yeah, I saw this and I was just like, it's so mean and nasty. And I was like, God, I kind of want Will to draw something just fucked up that scares the shit out of me. Like.
I love horror. I love horror comics specifically. And I'm actually Eric and I are working on like a 28-page thing that we're both going to just sell at conventions and stuff. I don't even know if we're going to have it like published. We're just kind of like,
oh, wow.
After our Dark Horse bouts, we're like, we just want to make something that we just make. And then it's under our own, like you said, if we're going to put in all that effort to promote something, let's just promote it and put it out for ourselves.
Yeah.
And the same kind of spirit as that cover put a fire in our bellies. It's like, I just want to draw something that can be as messed up as we want and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of that spirit of like that old EC style with like no code, just go for it.
Grip it and rip it.
Mm-hmm. Let her rip, chef. Dude, that's awesome. I know we kept you longer, but it is a great cover. And if you and Eric start doing fucking like underground high production zines, I would be so sick, dude.
That's the man for it. He's got the stories, so like I'll keep you in the loop.
Hell yeah, man.
Certainly by next convention sequence, like next year, absolutely.
Cool, dude. That's my a buddy of mine who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, Sean Daly, who's done some stuff with like ID. He's done some covers at Dark Horse too, but a while back, like he went to the library, he went to his local library and printed some zines and stapled them there and sold like, he maybe had 20, 25 copies, sold them on his website. I snagged one and they were real cheap, but I loved that, and it's just, the art's great. The story's good. I don't fucking give a shit what kind of paper it's on. I know we just talked about how nice things are on fancy paper. If you guys, I'm a hypocrite and we're going to deal with it, but like, it goes both ways, high production books are great.
Nice. Yeah. Like you go to these, like I'll go to these conventions. You have like your comic book seller business conventions, and you have like book conventions, and the people who are walking around just want good books. And like, you can even have it be down to like, they use good paper quality when they stapled them at home. Like you can tell, and those books sell them. And that's the comics we grew up with, right? That weird stuff that somebody would slip to you in class.
Yeah. I mean, some of my favorite comics, some of the comics that have affected me the most over the years were just random shit on the indie table. Never heard from that creator again because the publisher canceled it after issue 3 and he's probably working at a Wawa somewhere.
Or they forgot to put their name on it.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, that still is important.
Yeah. Well, they still do like zine cons and like little tiny zine conventions. Like that's pretty popular. Like they do one here in Missouri somewhere. I remember.
At the end of the day, for whatever the price is, putting the comic book in some kid's hand is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, absolutely.
And I'll keep you in the loop on that, and same with Goblin too. We'll have to reconnect and talk about that again.
Anytime, dude.
You got it, brother.
I'm every Wednesday. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Every Wednesday at 9. But yeah, I'm always gonna be here. So yeah, next time you guys got something going on, or yeah, I'm here. I'm here, and I'm ready. I'm ready to eat that shit up, baby. I love everything you and Eric do is absolutely wonderful.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate it. We do. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, sounds good. Will, thanks for hopping in last minute, man. Appreciate you.
No problem. Anytime, guys. See you, brother.
Good night.
See you, bud. Yeah,
right.
Goblin is.
It's so good. Well, I cry. They've made me cry 3 times, Mike. Twice in volume, or maybe it's twice in volume. Anyway, they get me every time.
The cool thing about it too, the way they wrote it, you can read either one. You don't have to have read the first one to read Wolf in the Well, but and I told you I think I was the first person to read it when they finished it. It is a rare occurrence where the second one is better than the first.
Mm-hmm.
It just really is.
That shocked me too. I was like, holy shit, man. Yeah, they like came, and I knew it was going to be hard. I had faith in them, but it's, man, when one is so good,
Yeah.
2 is hard.
Yeah.
Volume 3 is going to be hard, right? There, you make
Yep.
a game for it, that's going to be hard. You know, it's just it has so much momentum and expectation among its audience, and yeah, they keep nailing it. It's very impressive. I can see how the creative juice. Were other members in your family like creative or artists or musicians or anything?
My mom drew that.
Oh, cool. Nice.
She's
no one in my family does any, like, I mean, I write and did some stuff, but like no one in my family does any, no one does. My sister messed with photography for a second, but like, everybody in my family, a lot of people can cook. There's just a bunch of people that can cook and love going to church. There's a lot of people, a lot of what my family is, but yeah, not really any musicians and no artists.
Dad was a writer, but like corporate writing.
Okay.
My aunt, his sister, she's a writer. I mean, she's a therapist by profession, but lover of books. Just our whole family, just absolutely devouring books and movies.
Nice. Dude, I was raised that way, right? So like, as my dad had a stroke, a very minor stroke, and so he's basically fine, but his peripheral vision's fucked up. And he's 70 now, right? So he's slower, right? But he used to read all the time, and then he had this stroke in his eyes, and supposedly, I don't know, he said his eyes, but he doesn't really read anymore. And I keep trying to get him to try and read, man, because I'm like, dude, you can hear it, like his TV is just like that fucking Law and Order, like dong dong, and he just like watches it all, and he watches it because he can sit there, play on his phone, and fuck around and not really pay attention to it anyway. Like, but yeah, he used to read all the time. I like, if I wanted money to buy books or like for book fairs or scholastic book orders, it was never, always like never a second thought. Always, and like never, if I was like sitting around reading too much, it was like, you need to put that down and go outside. If I was playing video games too much, that was a different story, right? But
exactly.
Always supportive of reading. My family always read, but yeah, as they've gotten older, like it's weird, not a lot. My mom and dad, my sister does audiobooks now. She's kind of, that's fine. But yeah, it's just weird. We used to be a very big reading family, and we're not that way anymore.
They were very supportive of us. They were the kind of family that, like we didn't get a lot of presents. It was like you'd get a gift on your birthday, a gift on Christmas. Mm-hmm. But not a whole bunch of, like you couldn't, if you were in the mall or whatever, and you're like, oh, can we go in the toy store? You can go and look if you want, but I'm not buying you shit. But books was never a question. If you wanted a book, you could have the book. And same thing, like Will and I used to just like lie on the floor and draw, all the time, and just on random sheets of paper. And I remember one time my mom came back and she had grabbed like a roll of butcher paper from the butcher, so that we could just have like rolling it out, just keep going. It was like, they were always very supportive of that stuff.
That's cool. Yeah. And I mean, even now, like my family helped me out a lot, losing my job and stuff. And there was a time my sister told me this, cause I was like, when I started getting work again, it's all like, it's smaller, it's small gigs instead of like the one big one. Right. And I'm still trying to compensate from whatever, but like, I was like, man, do I say fuck it and get a job? Like, I'm like, do I, like a regular, or like my buddies all do insurance, but one of them just got laid off. Like they, they all make 60, 70 a year. And one of them, their whole team department thing got laid anyway.
Yeah.
But they, I was like, do I go do this? Do I just, say, just kind of say fuck it? And my sister was like, I was kind of telling her some of the stuff I'm doing, and she was like, I think you should give it a shot. She was like, that's what I'm trying to do. Cause I'm addicted. What we talked about earlier, I'm addicted to it. I love it. I can't imagine doing anything else anymore. Like I can't imagine not being, even involved in publishing now. And I love, whether it's production or editorial side, like it's amazing.
You love it.
And
people
it's, you
can
do
feel
something, you're putting something out there. And even if it's somebody else's something, right? It's not like you're going to work at a grocery store, and even if you're getting $20 an hour, you know, you're just grinding for somebody else, right? But even here, when you're grinding for somebody else, you're grinding for this thing to be proud of, that like people are going to enjoy, that people are going to like take this story and go somewhere, and maybe the fucking few hours of their shitty life won't be as shitty anymore, you know? Like you're helping that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at a grocery store you're helping people get food, but whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's
I mean,
it's
I'm a
different.
firm believer that any job is noble and has dignity, but I 100% understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just like this thing we do is it's special. Even if all you're doing is like looking for misspelled words, or if you're making sure every nipple's covered up on a Kickstarter page because you're doing not safe, you know, whatever you're doing, you're helping this thing come to life. And it's, yeah, I can't, you know, I hate Excel sheets and I hate meetings and I hate all that shit. But if I'm building a Kickstarter page and using an Excel sheet, I'm not as aggravated. If I'm in a meeting about what we're doing for these comic books and clients and stuff, that's a different kind of meeting. Even if we are talking numbers and shit, you know, it's just, so yeah, it'd be very hard to leave. And recently I got a couple books in the mail that like the last couple books I worked on with people or helped do some consulting on, and like getting those in the mail, I was like, what the fuck were you thinking, Blake? You know, like you're gonna fucking go do insurance claims, get the fuck out of, you know, like get out of here, you know. And it's yeah, I can't, I love it so much. Even it's, you know, that quote about Kirby was right, you know, like comics will break your heart, like, oh, it will, but you'll wake up the next day and come right back.
Anything worth a damn will.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you care about something, it's going to hurt you. You know, it's either going to do something dumb, or it's going to, you know, there's the inevitability of being let down by things is inevitable.
It's a
I'm like a poet. You didn't know that, but
you know that quote from Louis C.K. when he was talking about grief, and he was just saying, like, this is what you signed up for. That's the point.
Yeah, Colbert had a similar quote about that too. He said like, oh, he said like, I don't know, something about like if you could like go back and change things, would you? And he said no, because of like how pain defines us, and pain reminds us of what we can lose, and if we're not reminded of that, we're not going to appreciate it. And so pain is beautiful. I'm very much ruining the quote, but that was the gist of it. But it was really, and then he's like crying. Oh man, I love it. And they fucking fired him, man. Like this weird world. This weird, you try and bring some love and goodness into it, and they cut your $1 million contracts and hide your, you know, and then on the other side of it, you know, where do we try to put out books, and you know, do people even know the books are out? Do people even know like these things are happening? You know, and it's just like,
I firmly believe that putting something beautiful and worthwhile out into the world is worth it, just in and of itself.
Yeah, it's fulfilling. It's very, and it's like it's a different stress too. Like, and I don't know, like, cause you know, like when you're like rushing to get shit to the printer, or like, we got to make some Kickstarter changes, or like the newsletter is going out tomorrow, and we got, you know, just whatever shit adds up. Right. And it's, and you stress about it, but it's, and that stress gets you, but also like when it's gone and when you like complete the task, I don't know. It's just, I didn't get that kind of fulfillment at other jobs I've ever had. Like even at the bar when I was like fucked up having a blast all the time, you know, and like didn't realize a lot of things, but it was fun. But I mean, even then, like I learned a lot, and I learned how to talk to people, and like I said, it was a blast. But it just, that was like the one time, like I didn't always hate going to work then, because I knew it was like a party. But even then, like it still wasn't. I never got that. I never got a high like I did working in comics, and so I just,
it's something special to work hard at something you give a damn about.
Yeah. Maybe that's all it is. And that's why they're always like, well, if you care about something, you never work a day in your life. And then someone's like, no, because you'll never stop working. So your life is work.
I mean, that is a bullshit quote, but
yeah. How did we talked a little bit earlier today, not live, but about burnout and my temporary break and coming back. How do you deal like with that? Because you have to compartmentalize a lot of stuff too, because life, you have your day job, life gets in the way, life's not always easy. Then you have publishing deadlines, Kickstarter deadlines, printer deadlines, release deadlines. You're also scouting for new projects, and then like you mentioned, when you get those random moments, you got some of your own stuff you're working on. But how do you chill? Like, how do you chill out? Like, how do you like pump the brakes to keep the gas like not leaking out?
I get real quiet. I go into the woods.
Oh, really?
I get, go camping, go just sit somewhere quietly. I do a lot of like wood carving, and I don't use any power tools or anything. I just do like very small, intricate, long projects that take me forever, but it forces me to do the kind of carvings and stuff that I want to do requires such focus that I have to shut everything out. So I think it's kind of like meditating.
And that sounds like it. Yeah.
I think that kind of clears some of it out a little bit. And then just reading prose specifically. I obviously read a ton of comics, but like prose is something that same thing. Like if you're reading something, you have to focus, you have to shut out. You can't be reading a little bit and then checking your phone or checking your email. You have to just shut all that off and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I can feel, it's like back in the day when you used to defrag your hard drive. Like I can feel my brain working better when I'm done.
No, that I honestly started reading because my dad kind of scared me, because my dad's been slowing down and he's not like losing it, but he gets confused real easy. Right. And he gives up even easier. And instead of like trying to solve a problem, he like shuts down, and he just like, his critical thinking is really, he's struggling with it, and we're a lot alike in a lot of ways. And I came from him, and I was just like,
corn, you get corn.
Yeah. Right. and I was like, I was thinking about it, and that's when I started hitting prose a lot more, just because I was thinking that for my dad. Like, I wish my dad would read, like I don't really know how to like exercise your brain a lot more. Right. But that's one of the ways to do it is reading. And so I started reading prose, and then like fell in love with reading again. Right. Which then also made me fall in love with comics again, because I was like, didn't read comics for a while. And then I was like, shit, I kind of miss reading comics. And if it like wasn't for work,
it's just, people who know me know that I'm always reading. And so they'll say like, oh man, I used to read a lot and I want to do it, but like I try and it's so hard. And I tell them, obviously comics are a great way to do it. Mm-hmm. But like, if you fell in love with stuff like Nancy Drew when you were a kid, the Hardy Boys, those like really simple books, grab one, read it. You can read it, a couple chapters in the morning, whatever, like, but it'll get that skill going again. It comes back so quickly.
Yeah. And then you get that, you kind of scratch that nostalgia ish, and it propels you into other territory too. Yeah. Right.
It's no different. Like if I was rereading It Can't Happen Here a little while ago, and that was written, that's pre-Hemingway English. That's pre the consolidation of English. You're talking about like long multi-clause sentences that may be an entire page and a half with no actual punctuation breaks other than semicolons. And that's like that's not easy if you haven't been practicing that.
Yeah,
you have to like work your way up to that. So yeah, like I'll read like old Tom Swift novels, old Hardy Boy novels. Shit was written in like the 30s and 40s for kids. And bonus, you get some like unintended racism in there too, and sexism.
Oh, I bet a lot of that didn't age well at all.
It's so wild, man. You'll get like this kind of benevolent racism is what I call it. Like Tom Swift is these like engineering, scientific, every mystery is solved with science and engineering and stuff. And he'll have like a Chinese immigrant as his best friend, and he'll be like, oh, he's very noble for a Chinaman, and you're like, whoa, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, you thought that was a compliment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but-
I've noticed well, because they didn't they like did they like try and go into like, this is way different, but didn't they try to like edit out like the kids smoking cigarettes from like Stand By Me or
Oh
whatever,
yeah,
like
that whole
stuff
wave
like
that happened. Same thing when they like replaced the guns in ET for flashlights.
yeah, yeah.
Like, it's like, guys, come on, you're fighting the wrong
Like
fight.
at least they tried, I guess. But yeah, it's I don't like, I remember like reading those because my grandma and grandpa gave me all of like my aunt and my dad's old books I was reading, you know, and I bet a lot of them were, you know, what I'm really remembering though is just it was all white people. It was white white people, white families,
Yeah.
and like there wasn't like a lot of culture going on in those children books. I am looking back, I am kind of like the old Dick and Jane books. That's what I that's what I learned to read on.
Like old pulp novels, you know, science fiction, adventure, westerns, whatever, from, you know, the 50s, 60s, and same thing. You'll just be like, you'll be reading, you're having a great time, and then a character will say like, well, you know how sometimes you have to smack a woman in order to get her to understand. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
whoa.
It was just so casual.
Yeah.
Like,
they didn't have sensitivity readers back then.
But real, but like you think back to those times and you think, yeah, there was racist as shit, but certainly they were like trying to hide. No, they were not at all. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's what scares me like now is how like flagrant and blatant like everyone feels they can be now. And it's fucking really like, okay, I'm with my dad. We're at the grocery store and we didn't have to wait that long. A couple minutes. This lady like rang up some groceries. She did like a few groceries on one credit card, a few on another, and then counted out some dollars and change to pay the rest. And it real like by the time my dad and I we weren't waiting there that long, but there's this old dude. He didn't have a MAGA hat on, but the next best thing, like an all-American flag shirt, like front and back with like this giant eagle on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And you know, and he's very, very like he's older than my dad and he's kind of a little shaky. And you know, we're just standing there and he turns around and he looks right at, you know, and I'm probably like wearing a Ninja Turtle hat. Okay. I'm wearing some kind of like Spider-Man something. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm not going to say what I want to say. And I was like, well, I'd prefer if you didn't, you know, like he was like looking at me like, oh, a fellow white racist. And I was like, well, that's not the vibe I'm trying to give off for one, but also like, dude, I've never had to do that at a store. Okay. I wouldn't go. I would know the money I have before I go to the store. That's just me. You know, if I have no money, I know I have no money and I know I can't go to the store, but like, I know how hard times are, especially lately. I've had to borrow money. I cleaned my parents' house.
Down?
Yeah. And I'm just like, man, like she's just trying to get, and they're not buying alcohol, right? They're not buying, they're just buying groceries, you know, and they weren't white. Right. And so I knew, and I was like, man, and I was just like, it just sucks. And I was like, cause I wouldn't want, you know, if I was a racist, I wouldn't turn around and be like, you know,
and just assume that the guy,
just assume the guy behind you is a bigot. Right. But anyway,
I call it the people like us effect that the internet has had.
Oh, God,
no matter the horrible thing you thought, no matter what messed up thing you thought, you can type it out on the internet and there'll be 10,000 people who'll be like, yeah, I agree. Even though that's 0.0000001% of the population, you'll have 10, 20,000 people who will back you up and say like, yeah, you can, whatever horrible idea you have, there's probably a group for it already. Whereas back in the day, if you went to your friends and said, oh man, this happened, somebody say, well, that's not very nice of you.
Yeah.
You maybe, did you ever think about blank? You know, because these people care about you and actually want you to be a good person. Nope, you've got 20,000 other horrible people online ready to back you up.
Yeah. I think the same way. No, it's dangerous. On that note, on the dangers of social media and the how even that, you know, we talked about the landscape of indie comics is changing, right? And the way we
we're here to talk about comics.
Yeah, so something. You know? We always talk about the book for about 20 minutes during the show. Yeah. But you know, the landscape is changing, right? And you do a lot of like head talking videos, and you do a lot of like for Invader, like talking to your audience, talking to creatives, and that I feel like it's where you've stuck with it for a while now. You're very good at it. That's one, like all the shit that I do. That's one thing I struggle with. Like I'm so bad about like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to put out a video and not, like not repurpose old content, not find a good clip, not, hey, we're going live. But like, like, hey, like this new book or this thing I'm working on, or hey, the world I live in is kind of changing in one way or another, right? And you are really good at that. And
thank you.
How does that, like, do you take time, like, do you schedule time to like sit down and do those? Do you film them in like a block? Like I was kind of interested, like how like your brainstorming and production goes on these. Cause I think a lot of indie creators, publishers could learn from your social media tactics. Cause I feel like we need more people talking to us, right? Everybody's confused. We need you guys telling us what's going on.
I think connection in general is important, and especially for something like telling stories. It's a struggle. I don't love being on the camera. You feel self-conscious all the time. I'm in a very, very advantageous position because at any given time, I have several things to talk about. I can tell you about how I am fulfilling this Kickstarter. I can tell you about the book that we have in Lunar right now. I can tell you about the book that we have in Kickstarter or is going to come out. I've always something to talk about. And that was the biggest struggle as like an individual creator, is like, you are supposed to be putting out daily content, maybe even multiple things a day, and you just don't always have something to talk about. So the fact that I'm dealing with so many different books and so many aspects of this industry, that's really helpful. It's more along the lines of like, whatever I'm working on today, there is a part of my brain thinking like, what would be interesting to people? What would they want to hear about? And I try to just think about, if someone is following us on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever, what would they want to know about? What would they want to hear? It's not my favorite part. If I could just be making books and people were buying them and I didn't have to do that, I would probably not be doing that, or hiring somebody to do that. But I do think it's important for people to have that connection, see a face and see who it is. So it's not just, here, buy this book and it's nothing. Like, here's why we decided to put this out. Here are the struggles that we hit while we were creating this. Here are some of the decisions that we made that led us to, use a painted style for this one as opposed to more traditional, or just any of those things. I think that it's something that people would find interesting, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's because I have the same, well, a lot of stuff I can't talk about because I signed NDAs this time, right? So I have some cool shit I could talk about with like names people would recognize, but no. Anyway, I come up with the same deal because it's like, do you want to know what editing a podcast? And maybe some people do, or, like here's what I did. But like, man, like yesterday I built 2 Kickstarter pre-launch pages, and today I built like 30 Kickstarter graphics, and like, but that's not as cool. Just like, especially in like a talking, and I can't show them yet, right? I can't show like the ads and stuff I made.
Yeah.
But like, be like, hey, like I'm working on these, and I've thought about doing that. Maybe like not even for like, even if it was for Patreon or like, daily. Cause I do a lot too, but yeah, it's interesting when you're like working on these books, right? And you, like you said, you have a lot going on, as opposed to where, I'm like, I'm working on this stuff we can't talk about yet, right? That's what makes it hard. And that's kind of where you're lucking out, because you guys have this rolling tundra schedule that doesn't stop moving.
But I think in your position, it's very much like we were talking about with, my relationship to Will Perkins, where he would come to me and say like, hey, I just read 20 years of Flash comics, and here are the arcs that you need to check out. You're out there seeing so many different indie books, and people, you are that guy for so many people where you're saying like, hey, check out this thing I found out, because people trust you.
Idiots.
But
we
I mean,
all got problems. It's okay.
But it's like I was saying before, people can tell that you fucking love this, and that shines through. You know, you're not shilling books because someone paid you to shill a book. You're literally like, hey, I found this thing and I fucking love it, and I think you will too. And that's what I'm doing with Invader. Like,
that's because your video, they always get me. Like, even if I'm like, I don't like, you know, because I'll always, when I see like if I see a friend or someone I know, or like an account I engage with, I always like, you should too, by the way, anybody, but like, you know, but I don't always have time to like watch the whole video, but like yours always get me. And I think it goes back to that, because it's just like when you talk, you can tell you give a shit. And you're well spoken, you're intelligent, right? It all comes through on the camera. But yeah, you really do give a shit. And that's what those little videos like put out. So yeah, I just need to get, and that's like a whole new trend on TikTok. Like they're saying like if you open the app to fuck around, post, right? If you open up to scroll, post a quick video. You know, and that's like the new, what all the influencers on TikTok are saying. But anyway, and I'm like, nah, like, you know, like that sounds like a lot. But I mean, even then, if it's just like, maybe that is, because it's just, hey, like here's a point of my day, and this might be a boring part of the day, or a stressful part of the day, but you know, like it's my day, and I care about it, and maybe someone else will. I don't know.
I think we actually talked about this one of the other times I was on podcast here, but you know, when I was a kid and I would belly up to the indie table, you'd find that book and you'd be like, oh, this cover is awesome, let me check it out. And you'd start reading and you'd be like, oh, I really like this is cool, let me take it home. The 3 pages that I read in the cover, that's worth my, back then, $2.99 to spend. And you'd get it home and you'd read it, and if you were lucky enough, it was something that affected you and you felt like it was written for you. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like, oh, I like this. It was like, holy shit, this person that I've never met, who knows where they even live, wrote something that feels like they wrote it for me. And that's how I pick all of the books for Invader. If I don't get that feeling, I don't publish the book. And the reason I did that is because I really firmly believe that, just like with you, if you feel that love, people will feel it too. You know, and I can't put out a book that everyone is going to love. But if I love it, there have to be, like I said, 20,000 more assholes out there that feel the same way. That's the only way I know how to pick a book, because I'm not going to try to chase the thing where it's like, oh, I think this will sell, or I think, oh, this is popular right now, I better put out something like that as well. That's a losing game. You can never get ahead of that game, and it's disingenuous. It's not real.
How hard is it to let go of that mindset?
What's that?
How hard is it to let go of that mindset? Because so not even publishers, but like creators are a lot of indie creators, I feel like, are hard pressed to let go of that mindset. Right? Because we are smashing marketing into everybody's faces in comics, as we should. Ant, who does Decay, but he's said forever, marketing is a comic book making skill, and like it's true. It is like, but so like we keep telling people that, but they see that and they think, sell. What sells? What do we sell? What's hot? Oh, let's all do titty books. Let's all do not safe for work covers. Let's all, you know, how do you tell indie creators not to worry about what's hot and to worry about what's in your heart?
So when I talk to them and they'll ask me, what do you want to see? Do you want to see sci-fi? Do you want to see horror? Do you want to see what, you know? And I have to say to them, I want the book that you had to create, that you, like, no matter what, if you were on a desert island, you would still create this book. And I firmly believe that when somebody sends me a pitch, all right, you're going to get a little bit of inside baseball here. I don't believe I've ever said this out loud in public before. I don't read pitches. I skip the pitch. I read the book. I don't read the pitch until the book gets me.
Oh, wow.
Because the pitch is bullshit. The pitch is important information. I want that information if the book gets me, but I read the book first because that's what the reader is going to do. If I don't fall in love with the book, the pitch doesn't matter.
Yeah. Holy shit. This is funny because we were talking about pitching comics last week, and I was kind of thinking about like, oh, that might be a cool episode. Like, get people together to like talk about like how to pitch your book like after the campaign.
Hell yeah.
And you're like, fuck a pitch.
Well, no,
I get what you're saying though.
I'm not saying the pitch is important because like I can't tell you, I've gotten some pitches and I didn't look at them until I read the book.
Mm.
But I've gotten some pitches where I was like, holy shit. Not only is this book great, but this team has their shit together. They know what they're doing. This looks professional. The pitch is as enjoyable to read as the book. You know what I mean? Like that just tells me that you have your shit together because listen, I am only interested in books that I fall in love with, but I do still need to sell them.
Yeah.
So I need to know that the team behind it is professional. So like submission guidelines, and I assume this is true for all publishers, submission guidelines are just like you don't weigh in, you don't wrestle. They're like a price of admission. If you can't follow the simple instructions in a submission guideline, well, then you're going to know that they can't do the things that you're going to ask them to do down the road.
Okay. Oh yeah, man. That's
for me at least.
Now there's another pitch question because I know you guys get a lot of these because I used to see some of those emails come in and I was like, oh, like wow, and it's just like, and you guys, I mean, I can't imagine like what like Image get. You're right. Like, you do like the sloth files for those anyway. Yeah. But so a lot of people submit to you. So I know a lot of
we
cases
have open
now,
submissions.
Hey, there you go. A lot of things right now when they'll say, hey, like maybe we're into this, but we want 4 issues, or we want the first arc done, or what's your thought on that? Like if someone brings you like a solid issue or a solid one shot with plans to extend it, like, would you want to, are you asking to see that? Or I guess, does it depend on if you have the like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I believe that Invader is unique in that we will publish a book from someone who's never published something before if the book is good. That said, if you come to us and say like, hey, here's the first issue of this series I've planned, it's 12 issues, we're going to say, no, it's not. Cut that down to 3 issues, cut that down to 4 issues, but do that first. And if you've never published anything else, yeah, we're going to want to see most of that before we start the process, because in the early days, we got burned too many times because things happen. You suddenly realize how much work it is to actually put together a book, or you get a day job, or somebody dies, or I don't know, there's a fucking pandemic. So if it's an unproven creator, someone who's never put out something before, yeah, we'll be like, well, let's finish all 4 issues or most of it before we start publishing and putting this out. If it's someone who, we've worked with before or has a long record of, a legacy of accuracy with putting stuff out, yeah, we might be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. But we're still going to want to have most of it in the bag before we start putting it out, because anything could happen. And if you have a break in cadence, that's the death of a book.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So it's kind of on a feeler base. I could see that too. Like, yeah, someone like Brand, even if it was a killer book, like with no, if you don't know who they are, no prior publishing experience, I'd be scared too. Cause it's when you have a unit like Invader, is, when you're bringing these other projects on, and I mean, your livelihoods go on the line, it's like, it's your money, it's your time. Yeah. It's your blood, sweat, and tears, right? That's all going into making these books happen, making the campaigns happen, sending stuff to printers,
we're risking the trust that the readers and the shops put in us if we start putting out a book and then stop. Because like I was saying before, how many times did I find a book that I felt was like made for me, some indie book, first issue, oh my God, I love it. Second issue, oh my God, it's even better. Third issue never comes out. And you never heard from them again. It's not even like you can like follow that creator and follow their next book. Like that was it. They put everything into it. It wasn't a success, probably because some publisher didn't really promote it at all. probably because like nobody put any work into trying to get it out there, which is why we're trying to do what we're trying to do here. And then that person just like maybe gave up on their dream and they're working at a gas station somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that happen.
No, yeah, I'm with you. It's a bummer, and it's always shocked me, especially with some of these publishers with like that have like big PR teams or like press, like like the they send out these things, right? And a lot of them are like, hey, respond. And I know I'm not the big dog, right? But like I've interviewed a lot of people and like, and I've sent so many emails to a lot of people that they're like people never responded to,
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? If I worked at Boom or Vault or Emmett or whoever, these are all great publishers. I'm just using names as examples. Not trying to call out any names or talk bad about press teams. You're all lovely. But I'm talking about somebody else anyway. But if I was lucky enough to work at somewhere like that, to have a job like that, guess what I'm going to do, Mike? Answer fucking emails, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge part of your job. And I know, I know you got to funnel them, right? I know, not everybody who emails asking for Chip Zdarsky or whatever isn't going to get Chip Zdarsky, but you still need to respond to people. Like you don't want people thinking like, oh, Boom hates my show or whatever, it's just cause. So anyway, I've never understood that. Like when you when you can hire a team to do this and like, what does this team do? Like, I can write a press release. Like it's easy. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to complain or throw shade. It's just, it's weird.
Think about it from my end though. Like I find more books that I want to publish than I can. I only have so much time. Now, Invader continues to grow. We're growing this invasion every month. Go to invadercomics.com and join the newsletter so you can be a part of it. And the more people that we have buying books, supporting us, the more we can afford to publish and put these out. But like I literally find books that I can only put out, like 12 books a year. I only have the bandwidth for that right now. Once we get bigger and we're selling more, then we can maybe hire somebody so that we can help with that and increase that. And we keep trying to increase that. We started off with 80 a year. Well, before the diamond thing, we were on schedule to do 16 this year, but
wow,
that dropped a little bit.
For three guys. That's a big year. That's a big, 13, 16. Those are still big numbers in a year, dude. Like that's hardcore.
There's just a lot of great stories out there. Again, this is why I started Invader. My very first Comic-Con that I went to as a creator, I was walking around the floor and finding these books where I was like, this is better than anything that I've found from Dark Horse or Image. Why aren't you famous? You know what? This dude probably just created a book and he's not doing anything. Nope. He's doing 13 shows a year. He's putting in the work. He's got a huge following, but just not enough.
Yeah.
So try to help him out.
Yeah. It's great. Like I remember like when I started, like they used to be at Scout. They, Kevin Cuff and Bob France, these two writers, they're hilarious and they write hilarious comics. And they even told me, they were like, they're just getting old. They're like, man, we're getting older. We're older. We're getting burned out. We can't go to all these cons. We can't, and it's just, they're just like, it's, we got families. Everything we do takes us away from our families and our kids.
Yeah.
And I never thought of that, man. Cause it's funny. Cause they were my first like interview when I went solo. And so I'll always think of them as like rock stars. Cause I was so fucking nervous, and they're just two normal indie dudes, but they'll always be like big time to me. And they're great. They're super talented. But anyway, it shocked me when like, they told me that and they were like, I just don't like, I remember like Bob went and he started working at the, he was a mailman and like if the benefits and stuff and everything was great for his kids and he was loving it and he was happy. And, but yeah, so they just, that impacted their road trip abilities too, to travel to cons. And you don't think about it. Like even when these books are good and these guys are talented, it's just like, you think like, oh, everybody's read this or so many people have read this and maybe nobody has, like maybe a handful of people have. And maybe they quit printing that or they never, it's sad. And you don't realize how so the joke is like, oh, you're screaming into the void, whether you're like, a content creator, a comic book creator, or a publisher. It's just like, you're always yelling, is anybody hearing me? And it's like, no, like sometimes they're not. And it's heartbreaking. And that's what's like, I don't have an answer to that. And it sucks because people come to me and sometimes want to pay me money to have an answer to that. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, do you, Mike? I mean, do you, not to put you on the spot, but like,
No,
what's your way to combat like being, we've been talking about all night, kind of.
Every single book that I put out, I'm of the opinion that like, I can't believe this person isn't famous yet. And I tell people when I bring them on that like, we are going to put, and this, I think this is unique about Invader. And again, not to talk shit about any other publishers, but like we put the same effort behind every single book. And this is why we can only put out 12 a year, because we are putting huge amounts of effort. There are a lot of publishers out there who will put out 100 books a year, full well knowing that 90 of those are going to do nothing. And they're basically sacrificing 90 books for the success of 10. And as a creator, that bothers me because I know what it takes to create a book. So I say to anyone who comes on that like, here's a book that we put out. This was our biggest book of last year, which this was, by the way, on Kickstarter right now. And it was a huge success. We did the exact same thing for the other 11 books that we put out that were successful, but not as successful. Why is that? There is no answer to that. Now, what you can do is just keep punching. You know what I mean? Like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of thing. So, we are in it not just for books, but for creators. So I want creators who want to go the long haul with us, who will say like, hey, we sold X amount of books with this first book you put out. Great. Let's increase that next year. Let's increase that next year. And my thought has always been that the ethos behind, the motivation behind Invader should be that a rising tide lifts all boats. If we treat the invasion, Invader at all as a whole, as this team effort so that everyone is helping promote each other's books, that might give us that little bit of an edge to be heard. If everyone is singing the same tune, if everyone is singing in the same melody, maybe we can be heard above other people.
Nice. I mean, you got to, it sounds good to me, man. I don't like, I mean, I thought that even when you guys hired me, it always kind of aggravated. It aggravated me just because I was like, man, these are like cool indie books. And it's like, why is it so hard to like get people to back or support or read cool indie books? Dude, I'm dealing with it again now with my new job with clients whose names you would recognize that I can't say, but I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's even when you can drop a name, it's still so hard to get people to like buy a book. And it's like, it's so weird. It's aggravating. And it's a little disheartening, and it's weird, man. I don't get it.
You can't
we all love reading.
You down.
We all like
you're wandering into the swamps of sadness right now for the second never-ending story reference of the night, and you can't do that. You have to just like keep putting that positivity out there. And I know that when someone picks up one of our books, they will see the quality of that.
Yes.
And what I hope is that will inspire them to say, well, I wonder what else they have. And especially, like I love it when somebody grabs a horror book of ours, like Animals, which is on Kickstarter right now, and says, okay, well, what else do they have in the horror genre? That's great. I want them to trust us so much that that they know that the quality of Invader books are high enough that they'll take a risk on something they normally wouldn't read. Check out a genre that you normally wouldn't read. Check out a book with an art style that you'd be like, that's not for me. I promise you it's good. I promise you we picked it for a reason.
Yeah. And
that reason is not just because we thought it would sell. It's because it's a wonderful book that has something to say. And even if that something to say is just, hey, this is real fucking fun.
That is an interesting premise. Like when we were talking about like content, right? Like to make as like a publisher or indie creator, but to take, oh, if you liked this and then say, oh, I'm sure you would love this like total opposite, like an antithesis of like, but on that premise of like, if you like what we do, you'll like what we do over here.
Yeah.
Just like,
like
if someone wanted to read Recall and then you were like, oh, you liked Recall? Check out Fairtalia. Like, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, but like, weird, creepy sci-fi, creative nonfiction, as opposed to like hard, gnarly, goofy, gross fantasy, or comically gross fantasy. It's just, but that's an interesting premise.
We wanted to be like a boutique publisher that, like I was saying before, that like a Criterion Collection thing. Like we are just putting, we're not Netflix, we're HBO.
That's good too. Yeah.
And I don't know, and because we're on the ground, because of what we're doing here, we always thought of ourselves as like, Sub Pop, like we're the place where you're going to see things first. You fell in love with Nirvana when Nevermind came out, but like you could have had them first at Bleach over at Sub Pop.
That's good. Yeah, man. There's something exciting about indie and being on the ground floor still. Like even when you've been around for a minute, it's still like everything still always feels new. And especially with you guys, because I mean, you do have some series, like Animals is a continue, you're wrapping it up now, but like, whether it's a one shot or a graphic novel, but you're always putting out something different, like 1 month's release isn't really necessarily echoing the previous months, other than it's got that badge of Invader armor and you believe in it. Everyone
told me I was an idiot for doing it. All the consultants I talked to before I launched Invader are like, no, you got to pick a genre and just stick with it. You got to pick, that has to be your branding. And I was like, I know that's boring. I'm not going to do that. There's too many good books out there.
But that doesn't make a lot of sense either. Cause I mean, I guess, is that why big publishers have the subsets now, or I can't think of what the real name for them
imprints,
is. Yeah, the imprints. But like, is that kind of, like, because like Image publishes whatever they want, right? Or let's go like Source Point Press. Source Point Press has several books, right? So like there's not many publishers that cling to genres. Like the only ones that can really do that are big publishers with imprints.
Yeah.
So that's really not super great. I mean, I admit,
that's why
all you guys did was like crazy hard sci-fi and sci-fi horror. You got the logo for it. You got the name, right?
Yeah.
It would be cool, but yeah, like I wouldn't, that's weird. I'm glad you didn't listen. Cause that would be, if all you did was like alien UFO books. And then if they like weren't even like connected, they were all like different. That'd be weird. People get lost and confused.
Yeah. But I mean, again, check out our books. Like go on Global Comics. We have a lot of books on Global Comics where you can read the first issue or parts of the first issue for free. And you can see they're wildly different, but they're all just so damn good.
Yeah. They're fun. I didn't know. Yeah, check out Global. I love Global Comics is a fun place.
We're the first publisher to sign up with them.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Damn. That's great. Yeah, I still tell people. I'm always like, remind people. I'm like, when they're like, oh, what can we do to like get people to read our stuff? And I'm like, have you put anything on Global Comics like an ash can or a free digital? No. Well, do it. Like. It's
the
like
drug dealers know what they're doing. Give a little taste.
Yeah, it's another resource that a lot of people don't. And it sounds like we may have a couple other digital outlets come into play soon. What I know, Mike, I know I kept you a while, and I keep forgetting because I keep reminding myself to ask you, and we keep getting sidetracked. But on the note of like different platforms and moving around and you're at Lunar, you guys did a Zoop campaign recently. Instead of Kickstarter. What where was that like the creator's choice you were working with? I was just kind of curious what it was. Okay.
Well, we had heard some good things about Zoop. And Full Tilt was such a big success there, and I'd been following that for years. And so we were excited to, we had been talking with him, but yeah, with Marco, he had already done some stuff on Zoop and he wanted to.
Okay.
So we decided to try that.
Now are you, I can't talk. When switching streaming platforms, right? When you get comfy and you try a new platform, or like even like Kickstarter. I hadn't been on Kicks, and basically everything's the same, but shit's a little bit moved around than it was. Things change, you know. You get comfy and things change. You start moving to different outlets and platforms, and that comfort is gone, and things really change, right? Now, we mentioned like Global Comics, and there's these other like Distillery. The guys from Distillery are doing some stuff now. I can't remember what it's called, but everybody's kind of talking about that. Are you opposed to like trying out new, like, would you want to try out new stuff, or would you want to wait to kind of test the waters a little bit? Or are you just like, no, let's like get in there. Let's see what happens.
No, let's get in there and see what happens. The way we look at it is like, they're going to have a whole new group of people, you know, like maybe we go to Zoop for a book and there are people who are already on Kickstarter and they're also on Zoop, but there's going to be a whole lot of people on there who've never gone. It's the same thing as when, you know, I'm old enough to remember when we first started doing digital comics and everyone was like, no way, man, that's going to take away. Fuck you. It's two different audiences. Yeah. And all you're doing is just adding to the pool. Like, just bring more people into the invasion. As far as I'm concerned, just expose us to a whole new audience that are going to fall in love with our books.
Nice. Yeah. I didn't know how hard it would be I've never like been behind the scenes on those platforms with like releases and titles and managing those. I mean, I'm sure you like upload them and that's probably about it. I don't know. But you know, like if you're juggling like a handful of digital storefronts and your own website, you know, it's eventually that becomes a lot. And then you may eventually have to like be like, all right, well, which one of these are working for us and which one aren't? So like, I'm just all like, there's always these new like exciting things to try, and new platforms and new websites, and AI will make all our lives better. All we have to do is sacrifice our humanity to the digital overlords, you know? And it's just like, but you know, there's all these new things that we can always try. And it's just like, dude, sometimes you lose yourself in the work and the gumption in trying to find the best way to do it, you know? So like, sometimes you just got to like kind of stick there, but yeah, like it's just, at the same time, when you're struggling to be seen and when you're trying to move more books and you're trying to build your audience, it's like, yeah, you gotta try more shit. But yeah, I didn't know if that's a hassle when if you're like, we sell comics on Comixology and on Amazon and then Global Comics.
It is.
And
it absolutely is. I mean, like if we could make a living where everybody just came directly to our website and bought their books there, that would be a lot better, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's not the world we live in.
Yeah.
And so I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, you always gotta fight against someone else's convenience. Yeah, I feel like, right? Because if you only sell, I still remember Mr. Copeland's when they did that Zoop campaign, and he said like anybody, like any retailer, like he would not sell the book on Amazon. He like refused to. He was like, if anybody puts his book on Amazon, I'll find you. Like, you know, like, and I love that about him. But I was also like, dude, like, and if I remember correctly, Zoop was like, Jason, please. And he was like, no. And I love, like, that was beautiful. Yeah. But you know, sometimes you can't be as strict, right? And I don't want to say that, like, sometimes you shouldn't be as strict with your ideals. That sounds dangerous to say right now.
But you got to meet people where they are.
Sometimes you just have to let it happen and wake up, and then there's Republicans everywhere. No, it's like, you know, but sometimes you have to make it, you know, if you put the book on Amazon, you're going to sell more, right? And if you put the book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and, you know, then maybe you sell. So like, I kind of get it, but someone's got to do it, right? And it's probably you. You're probably the one, right? I mean, maybe you're probably the one who does that.
Yeah. You got to meet people where they are. Like I said, you know, like we're constantly trying new things. You know, we did the LA Festival of Books earlier this year.
Yeah.
Our best con, our best event in a long time. It was full of people who just love books. And a lot of the comic conventions that we go to there doesn't seem to be a lot of people who like books. They're there for like toys and stuff. It was fantastic. That was a total risk. We were like, oh, let's just try it. We'll be there every single year now.
That's cool. Hell yeah.
American Library Association conference that we were at just a couple of weeks ago. Same thing. I can't say enough good things about that place.
Yeah, I didn't know until a couple years ago I was working with Jessica Mason, who's a writer, but I didn't know or realize that so many comic people went to that. I was like, holy shit. Like I like Scott Snyder and Best Jack. Image always has like a big booth there. And like, I didn't realize like they came to play there with comics like that. I thought it was more like traditional, like, like the pros field,
Let's be honest. Librarians are some of the best people out there, and we
That's
need
true.
everything to support and protect them.
They are superheroes. I agree. They're phenomenal people. And so are libraries, by the way. Like if you're poor like me, you can sign, there's like Hoopla and your library, you can just read shit for free, but you should also go buy Invader Comics with your real money though. If you spend some of that on them. But no, I really do, man. I've always loved the books you guys are doing, and it's cool to see. I'm glad Animals is wrapping up. That cover you got your brother to do is fucking gnarly.
Hey, not wrapping up, man. We got 18 days left in that campaign. We were already funded. We already blew through the first
I thought I didn't. Oh, you did just launch, didn't you? You just wait, this did you just you guys running a little longer campaign this time?
This one we're doing a little bit longer, because
you guys were like, let's do. I swear to God, weren't we in a meeting one time where you were like, "What if we did a 6-day campaign?" Like
we did
you
a
guys
one
were
weekend.
Like shaving them down.
We did a 1 weekend campaign.
No shit.
Yeah. It was like a long weekend. It was like 4 days or something. But yeah, because like how it is. You do a Kickstarter, you get a huge bump in the beginning, you get a dead middle, and that dead middle could be a week, it could be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now Animals is not doing that. This one has been steady.
Nice.
We're a week and a half into this campaign. We got 15 followers or backers yesterday.
Oh, cool.
7 in the middle of the night. Like it's continually building. I think it's because of my brother's fantastic art.
Very good.
But yeah, we just blew through the first stretch goal. So now everybody who backs is going to get a print or digital version of the pen and inks of the cover. The next one at 3,000, Keith, the creator of Animals, he's also a musician, and he does a soundtrack for all of his books. So everyone who backs the campaign gets a soundtrack at $3,000. They'll get an expanded soundtrack. He'll record new tracks for that as well.
Nice. That's cool. I like that. That's the thing. A lot of people do it with not with their own music, but that was a thing for a while, like Spotify playlists to like listen to while you read a comic.
Yeah. I love that.
I hate because I can do music and read, but if it's got vocals in it, it messes like, my brain tries to figure both out simultaneously.
I'm the same way. I can't listen to music while I'm reading or working.
Yeah. Same. I work better in the dead of silence, where I can just hear my own dread and work against it. All right. Well, yeah. So Animals is live right now, and then you guys still write every month. You're on Kickstarter still, right?
Yeah. I mean, we had to take a little bit of a break with the diamond thing while we were figuring everything out.
Because,
okay. We tie everything into the actual print production run of it.
Okay.
But yeah, we're back with that schedule. I'm really excited about Artillery and Lunar right now. So we're final order cutoff for this is August 4th, and then we'll have that a Kickstarter for this one as well. We'll do that when we do the collect trade. This is the first of 3 volumes from this one. We'll have a special Ashcan preview of that at Cape and CowlCon next month here in Oakland. And we'll be at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. We're taking part in the Massive Indies panel on Saturday. So you can come and see us talk about indie comics even more.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, definitely go track down these guys. They're good dudes, and they're making great books. So yeah, invadercomics.com. You can sign up for the mailing list. And then you can find the links for the one day I'll figure out how to talk, Mike. I bought this $400 microphone and I still don't know how to talk into it. But you can find the links to all their books on the website, links to the Kickstarter everywhere. They're very good at making their books easily accessible if you just click the link. So I highly advise you to just click the link and see where it takes you. It'll take you to
The,
an awesome
the link
book.
for the Kickstarter is on all of our social media, which is all Invader Comics. If you sign up for the newsletter, you will hear about stuff before anyone else. We give away free comics on there. That's where you can find out about like books before we announce them on our social media or anything like that. And, you know, some of the like special early bird stuff that we do on the Kickstarter, that's where you'll hear about it too. So you can grab it before somebody else does.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love you guys. You're all good. You're good people and you're making cool books. They also, Keith, we were talking about this. Keith wrote Animals. Keith also wrote this really cool kaiju book called Kadoja. You guys just, or wait, is that, no, that ended. You wrapped that.
That's the 4th volume. Just wrapped up. Yeah.
Just wrapped that up too. Yeah. So, they have really, really dope books to check out, and they're going to have even more as the year goes on.
Maybe yours.
Oh, there you go. Open submissions. Is that invadercomics.com too, where they find that, or is that?
Yeah, right there. The submission guidelines are right under the contact page.
Oh yeah, and in your TikTok and everything, that's not you, right? It's under Invader Comics.
Invader Comics. Yeah.
I just always think it's you because it's you talking. So
yeah. It is.
Yeah,
you'll know you found the right account because you'll see me.
You'll see Mike. He's hard to miss. Yeah, for real, check them out. If you guys have followed me for a while and watched the show for a while, you've heard me talk about Invader for a long time, and there's a reason for that. But Mike, it was so great to catch up with you, dude. I wish you even though the other two guys were too cool to come on the show, and I'm just kidding. I know they're at the con. But I wish you all the best. I hope you keep making the awesome books. And Will, I know you're gone, but you're still here. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. No, it was great. It was great to talk to both of you. Everybody, thank you for tuning into the show. If you're at the con, wear deodorant, be nice to people, be respectful. Don't, you know how to act in fucking public. Just, but if you got to wait in line, don't be grumpy. And, you're there to have fun, grab some cool books and, travel safe. Do that too. Mike, you have any last words?
No.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, love more, hate less, read books, enjoy SDCC. Maybe I'll be out there with you one day. I can't wait to see all the cool shit you guys bought when you get home. Mike, I love you, dude. Keep pumping out the jams at Invader. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
See you guys. Thanks a lot.